You sort of mentioned it in passing there, and you've kind of already, from what you said, alluded to the fact that you're starting to, if you didn't already, and I think you had already, to be fair, several times, questioned just how much of a title race this is. And again, you're beautifully immune to some of the lunatics who populate the Arsenal fandom. Just some of the most remarkable stuff you've ever seen coming out of them. And it just feels a little bit like maybe there was a prop by most of the big media channels as well to try to keep the bloody thing exciting, that there was this race. And yet, from that period where they closed it to 4 points, I think they've only won maybe 2 points since. And the gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no laurel resting here from the likes of you and me, but just to speak objectively about Arsenal and what they offer, yes, we can talk about they've had really bad luck with injuries. They just have. But that didn't seem to take away from the incredibly arrogant chat that was going around, both from some of them and occasionally from the manager and certainly from their fans. What do you make of them in terms of the way it's shaping up? Is it actually a race now? I've seen one or two of them sort of hand it over at this point.
Well, the thing is, Trevor, they've got one more game to play than us. So we're playing 9, are we? They're playing 10. They need to win 10. Are they capable of that? So we're talking about some players coming back from injury. Martinelli was on the bench on Sunday at Old Trafford. Saka might be back after the international break. He might be back sometimes in April. But the big issue is still going to be that the two guys who can play centre striker, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, won't be back till next season. So as much as you're going to get some players back, you're not going to get a central striker. So they're still going to have massive issues trying to create chances. But I just think that I quite enjoyed Arsenal last 2 seasons. When they went toe to toe with Manchester City, I thought they played some really good stuff. They were exciting. They were good on the counter attack. And I think this happens, Trevor, in football, that they were like 3 seasons for Arsenal. Where everyone goes, wow, this is a nice change and a surprise, and all these young players at Arsenal are doing really well. But then you do 2 seasons playing really well, but you don't win anything. And I think things then change in the club, where the manager go, there is certain things we do that we can't do anymore, because now we need to turn this period into trophies. And I think he's trying to do that with control, and the control does not suit the players. So, I think he has a part to play in this, Arteta, the way that they play. Quite remarkable. I was at Old Trafford on Sunday when they played Manchester United. I mean, Arsenal can't counter-attack anymore. Even in situations where it's 3 against 3, 4 against 4, and you think, go on, they end up getting up somewhere near the opposition's penalty box, and then you turn back out and play safe and get back in control. Even Manchester United, and I thought they should have won, because they had 3 or 4 really good counter-attacking where everybody's flat out and they know exactly what to do. Arsenal can't do that anymore. They move the play really forward, quick, really forward, and then they go bang, and now we just stay here and we're in control. But, it's not enough. And that thing we did on Saturday, I know we were at home, and it's different when you're at home against Southampton, but they can't do that. That switch, even when you're not at it, you have that switch for 10 minutes. They can't do that. You know what I mean? So, no, it's not. And the interesting bit, and I do find this interesting, that what happens to Arsenal next year? I don't know. But I think that's really, really interesting. This year, I said it a few weeks ago, they'll finish second. And there's nothing wrong with finishing second 3 times on the bounces. So, but I think it's interesting to see where they're going to go next year. Equally as interesting to see where City are next year. Equally interesting to see what happens at Anfield, really. Because I also think it's a big summer at Anfield. Because I think there will be 1 or 2 things happening to them.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like all bets are off, because there will be, I think you're right, big changes across all 3 clubs. You'd imagine there'll be a massive shake-up at ours. But it's the Arsenal one that I'm finding interesting, because, if there is the kind of recruitment on the level that, the fans are saying they need, and the manager would no doubt say he needs, that's going to push it right up close to $1 billion in terms of investment that has gone in on Arteta's watch. I know it's north of 700 million at the moment. And there is a trophy that came in his first year with a team like when Klopp came in and he did really well and got the previous manager's team to a European final. He won that FA Cup in the first year with the previous manager's squad. The second place finishes, the you know, excitement around young players, all the rest of it, it seems to be wearing quite thin because he himself seems quite prickly. And I do wonder, I think you're right, I wonder, will there be pressure? Where is that pressure coming from? He doesn't seem to want to talk about it. Now, I do think reporters have a way of going on where they're trying to get a gotcha moment, and I don't particularly like that or have any great time for it, but it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And look, like you said, the difference at the weekend with the two games is quite pronounced. I watched Arsenal United yesterday afternoon, and yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe the sort of, you used the word earlier on, intensity that was there from United, because I just thought they would play their part in trying to undermine our title challenge. But like, honestly, they could have had a couple of late goals. Højlund on a different day scores at least one of those. And there were a couple of other opportunities. And there weren't the same level of chances being created the far side for a team that's chasing, theoretically, the league, who are in, theoretically, a title race.